How you doing, people? This is the Rubin Report. I'm Jan Brewer's spiritual guru, Dave Rubin, and I have two-time repeat Rubin Report guests, Wendy Liebman and Brett Erlich, and let's get to it. So you guys might have heard about this little nutty law in Arizona. It is SB 1062, and this has passed the Arizona legislature, and this allows businesses, as long as they assert their religious beliefs, to refuse service to customers. And now basically this means if you're gay and they don't like you, they don't have to serve you. So just real quick on this thing, because Jan Brewer may veto this thing by the time we finish this conversation. She may not veto it. She tweeted last night that she's going to do what's best for Arizona. I don't know what the hell that means. What is going on in Arizona? What is happening in that kooky state?
They're trying to eliminate the illegal alien gay people from going to the bars.
Is there anything worse than an illegal alien? That's a lot of Republican buzzwords in one thing, don't you think?
What they're doing is they're cutting out some of their business.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous on every level.
Yeah. Republicans, they love business. Isn't this just the stupidest thing possible? Wouldn't you want business? They love money.
It's this amazing place to be caught between these two conflicting fetishes of like business success and hate and hating certain individuals. I think that I'm behind anything that makes sure that gay people don't get certain kinds of chicken sandwiches. Yeah. I just don't think that, like, you know, John's chicken sandwich should ever serve a gay person.
Yeah. You know, the truth is gays don't want those fried chicken sandwiches,
That's
actually.
True. Honestly, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to put weird stuff in people's sandwiches you don't like. You know, why don't you let them in, allow them to order, and just do weird stuff to their food? Yeah. That's your American right, I say.
It is. Should we give a little, not be so glib about what the religious people want? You know what I mean? The Christian right says they're under attack, and if they have a religious belief that they don't want to serve gay people because they're in sin, should we have any respect for that in 2014?
No, and I think we're going to put Brett's picture up on the wall of these establishments. Oh no, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm not following you.
No, because the Abbey. Oh, I'm mixing up.
You're ahead of me already. She's all right. Let's talk about the Abbey.
I'm mixing up the two stories.
You know what? I'm going to go with you. So the Abbey. I'll talk to the camera for a second. So the Abbey, which is basically the most famous gay bar in the United States, certainly in California. It is right in West Hollywood, right where I live. They have announced that they are going to ban people who back this legislation, legislators who back this legislation. We have a quote from the founder of the Abbey. This is from Dave Cooley, who owns the Abbey. He says, "I want to send a message to all those people out there who conflate Christian values with discrimination. We don't want your kind here. I've learned that I can't stop crazy, ignorant, or stupid, but I can stop it from coming through my doors." And he's literally going to show mug shots of these legislators. Not that these people are going to show up at the Abbey, would they?
Well, you
Brett's
know,
headshot obviously will be there.
You never know, because it seems like the most homophobic are the most hypocritical.
Yeah.
So
you think they might be showing up there in drag, perhaps?
Or toe tapping.
Or something.
Stalls. I don't know. I just think it's so funny that anybody would discriminate from getting any kind of business. Yeah. I don't understand that in this economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the Abbey's missing out on a huge opportunity. I think they should leave the photos up so we know the names and faces of the anti-gay legislators. But if they're coming to the Abbey, I think you should let them in. Let them get a few in them. Yeah. Maybe have some drinks. Yeah. And then take some photos. Yeah. Of them and leak, you know, yeah, and then before and after. Well, no, I'm just saying, like, if they're coming to the Abbey and they're an anti-gay legislator, don't you want photo evidence of them being in your establishment? Right. And enjoying, you know, a little Sailor Jerry, maybe a rum and Coke? Yeah. Now,
obviously, the owner's he's being a little tongue-in-cheek because these people most likely aren't showing up there. But is there a risk in gays becoming as sort of intolerant of different views as the Christian right that we're always fighting against? You know what I mean?
No.
No? Both times, I like it. Yeah, go.
No, I mean, you're attacking somebody's human right to exclude them from going into any place. So, no.
You know, it's tough for me. Like, there's some part of me that says, hey, you know what? If there's a gay-run establishment that doesn't want anti-gay legislators into their place, I think that's hilarious and awesome for them to not let them come in. But then again, that is the same thing as the other side saying, listen, if I don't like gay people, then it's not the same thing, because the first person in the first picture that I just painted, that person has transgressed by discriminating. But you know, if it's your place, I'm sorry. but like, if it's my place, and there's some people that I went to high school with that I don't want to come to my house.
Yeah.
Why can't I say, you can't come here?
So to that point, though, so these people who say it's my business, I should be allowed to do what I want, they're bigots, and then don't give them your business. Should this be something that's like legislated? That's the part, to me. Of course, you shouldn't be allowed to discriminate against gay people, but then to me, it's like gay people just shouldn't go there. Like, let Chick-fil-A exist, and I'm not going to eat Chick-fil-A.
There should just be a separate Yelp called Hey, where you keep tabs on the anti-gay establishments, and a big X shows up through the one you're going to. I mean, let them do it. I just think in the end, everyone who bans gay people from coming through their doors is going to get enough negative press as a result. I don't think more people are going to say, oh, you know what we should do? Go all the way across town, because we also don't like gay people, to get our chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
I think people are so lazy that even if the place that is in their neighborhood is run by gay people and they hate gay people, they're just hungry and they want it delivered, so they're just going to call and make it happen.
There's Pink Dot.
Yeah, exactly.
They deliver almost everything you want. On that note, in full disclosure, I should tell you that my picture actually is on the wall at the Abbey, but that's for a whole other reason. Okay, let's keep talking about states and what's going on in this. We have all these states in this country, and they're all just a little bit different. A new app called Spreadsheets is it's tracking your performance between the sheets. Yeah, basically using users' movement and audio levels, it tracks how long and the duration that you're having sex. I guess how long and duration are the same thing. So these are the states with the longest duration of sex. New Mexico, they are doing it. 7 minutes and 1 second long of sex. West Virginia, Idaho, South Carolina, Missouri, Michigan, Utah, Oregon, Nebraska, and Alabama. So the 10th, there's a 4-minute duration. There's basically a 3.5, 4-minute difference between 1 and 10 in the length of sex. And these are the states with the shortest duration of sex: Louisiana, Kentucky, Arkansas, DC, Nevada, Georgia, Montana, Vermont, South Dakota, and Alaska. They are only having, now this is self-reported, of course, and you have to have the app for this, but 1 minute and 21 seconds worth of sex. Do these numbers make any sense to you?
Well, New Mexico is supposed to be, I've never been there, but I heard it's just beautiful. So 7 minutes, it would be like 7 minutes in heaven.
Purely right? with the mountains and the sky, it's wonderful.
There's no state that has sex for 6 minutes. Like it goes from 7 to 5.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
That 6 minutes is in the nether. There's no.
6 is the devil's number.
6 is the devil's number. But 1 minute, Alaska, 1 minute and 21 seconds. It's because it's so cold there.
Yeah. So okay,
I just want to get it over with.
But I thought it was the reverse. In Alaska, it seems like you would want the body warmth just to avoid the hypothermia. Wouldn't you be having more sex?
They might have sex 15 times in a row. Oh. But each instance lasts 1 minute 21 seconds. I think there's a reporting error, perhaps.
Yeah, 15 is a bit excessive.
And this is
not in Alaska.
If your cell phone works.
Yeah, right. Of course, this isn't scientific because you basically have to have an iPhone and the app, and you have to be willing to record yourself and all that kind of stuff.
1 minute, 21 seconds. Those people seem great at sex. They're so efficient. These people in New Mexico are like, all right, honey, where do I put it again? Huh? I just like.
Well, I moved from Massachusetts to California, so I gained 7 seconds in the bedroom.
Yeah, and do you feel your sex life is better here in California than it was in Massachusetts?
I have no idea. But what I think is really interesting, I wondered if those numbers included foreplay or if that was just like.
Oh, that is a good question. Yeah. You were thinking the same thing?
I was wondering, because like once you start going, you know.
I mean, is there chocolate involved? Is my husband cleaning up? I think the extra 7 seconds is me getting the towel. Yeah. That's what the extra
They tack that on at the end. Yeah. By the way, we should tell you guys that New York is ranked 23rd at 301, and California at 238. They're ranked 32nd. Where does this fall into your sex? These numbers seem incredibly low to me. 7 minutes, that's the longest. I mean, 7 minutes for me, that would be very, very short.
Oh, good for you.
I'm out there.
Humble brag, humble brag. It depends on how long you've been in a relationship, because I feel like any second spent trying to have sex with my girlfriend is me inconveniencing her. And at this point, if she's like, let's go visit people in Alaska, let's just get you over with as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Now, so that's your code, Alaska?
Yeah.
Hurry it up?
Yeah, where do you want to go tonight, sweetheart? Alaska or New Alaska?
Yeah. Now, Wendy, you, I believe, are the one married panelist here.
I am.
How does that fit into the married life? Is it like, I've got to do this because we have to do this a certain amount of time per week? Can I give you a more loaded question?
I would much rather get a massage.
You want the massage?
At almost 53. But no, I don't know. That's very personal.
That's a very personal question.
But let's just say 7 minutes is, I guess that's average.
About average?
But as you said, Brett, it depends on how many times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also, I like to think this is not a very popular app. So maybe the one person who has this app in New Mexico just takes longer than the one person who has this app. There is someone who's in their 30s in New Mexico who has it, doesn't really finish as fast as they used to, and then there's a 19-year-old in Alaska who's like, I'm finished already, let's move on.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, well, we've provided you with a very unscientific analysis of a very unscientific poll on sex duration. Okay. Let's talk about 2016, because they don't talk about that enough on cable news, do they? You guys remember Ralph Nader? He runs for president every couple of years, screws up the whole thing. Maybe Al Gore would have been president. He loved seatbelts, especially in the 70s. Yeah, we could have had Al Gore, perhaps. Who knows? So he came out with an interesting memo outlining 20 people that he calls moderately enlightened rich people, MERPs, that he thinks could run for president in 2016, and that might actually be decent. Okay, so here's some of the people on the list. You got to have Oprah on any list of rich people that are doing things. We got Bill Gates, Ted Turner, former third-party New York governor candidate Tom Golisano, and former AOL chief executive Steve Case. And we've got a quote of Nader explaining why he thinks these MERPs could lead us into the future. Presently, only very rich, modestly enlightened people could have a chance to break this introverting cycle of political oligarchy, which unenlightened rich people generally approve of, that sets its own rules, makes its own laws, and appoints its own judges, and even brazenly forces taxpayers to finance its quadrennial political conventions. Ralph Nader should probably maybe use a period occasionally in a sentence to explain something that would have been easier for me.
Headshot.
He definitely could use a different headshot, a little more makeup when he's on TV. All right, but let's not make this about Nader. Is our only chance to break the system, this endless money machine system, could it possibly be true that a billionaire self-financing his campaign might actually be the one chance we have to get money out of politics, as reverse as that sounds?
Well, he wants to crack open the system, let somebody else in, so that the same people don't get elected and the same corporations don't keep donating, right?
Yeah.
So maybe having a third party, somebody like I was going to say Madonna. I meant Oprah.
We can throw her on the list. We'll put her on the list, too.
I mean, honestly, I would vote for Bill Maher or Jon Stewart or even somebody like Beyonce, because other dignitaries from other foreign countries would love to sit down with a Beyonce. And
people would love to sit down with Beyonce.
Right?
I don't know that she quite qualifies on the billionaire list, but maybe she's on her way at least, right? She's definitely on her way.
Maybe the Hova Beyonce total dollar amount when they put them together as the power couple, maybe that cracks $1 billion.
Yeah.
I do think collectively, people running for president might, be able to collectively raise $1 billion. So what's the difference? I think the sad part about if you have a moderately enlightened billionaire, I think the very enlightened billionaires are the ones who are like, forget politics, I don't want to deal with that.
But isn't that the truth? Like, if you were, you forget how much money you have, but if you were really an enlightened person, would you ever want to run for political office?
Well, Marianne Williamson is running, and she's a very enlightened person.
I don't even know who she is, so she must be very enlightened.
She speaks a lot about love, and she's more of a spiritual leader, but she's running for some seat somewhere right now. So, but like Al Franken kind of did that. He cracked it open because it made the media pay attention to him. So I think it's less about the money and more about, can you get new life into politics?
Yeah. Is it just a sad state of American politics, though, that we might need a billionaire to actually get money out?
I don't think so. I think the sadder thing is, if you are this moderately enlightened billionaire who is going to try and run, you're not going to win the presidency. That is a fact. I mean, I just don't see it happening, even if Oprah throws her hat in the ring.
Yeah.
I think what that accomplishes is what Nader accomplished and what Perot accomplished, which means the person who's actually closest to you on the political spectrum loses because of you.
Yeah.
So I just think the third-party system, Al Gore, George Bush, those are things that arguably lost the election. And other decisions could have been made, but largely, lost the election for the person who was closest on the political spectrum to the billionaire who ran.
Yeah.
Or the large third-party
So
candidate.
Oprah doesn't have your vote?
If Oprah runs within a party, I think that helps.
How about the picnic party? Make it fun. Ooh. I mean, whoever the billionaire is, it's going to be a great party.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We have the tea party. They're so serious all the time and all that. But the picnic party, it's pleasant, maybe champagne, something like that.
Those $5,000 a plate dinners, the billionaire puts $5,000 on your plate.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And I hate that I'm still getting email from the Obama campaign asking me for money. I don't understand. I'm trying to pay my health care.
Yeah. Well, they have to usher in the 2014 candidates that he likes too. It's just right, but that's the problem. It's just a never-ending cycle. But isn't also part of the problem here is that we have this thing where now people are really hating rich people, rightly or wrongly. So the idea of a billionaire self-funded candidate, if Michael Bloomberg suddenly ran for president, wouldn't the populace would hate that, right?
Also, the Republican side doesn't need that, because the Republican side, a lot of the money comes from corporate interests anyway. So the business-minded person running on the Republican side, that's not new.
Are the Democrats not getting the corporate money? I mean, isn't it always 52% to 48% or something like?
I don't know. The corporate money is one thing, but I think these moderately enlightened candidates that Nader's mentioning are all, in a large part, big Democratic lean. What I think he means by enlightened is the person whose money they put into politics isn't expecting money to come directly back to their cause or company. That's what he means by
enlightened. Because they don't need it because they're already billionaires?
Right. But there's other people who are just I'm going to give you money for my, shoelace making corporation so we can have my kind of shoelace go to every school kid in Atlanta.
See, I think it's a good idea to start the conversation about it. I'm not necessarily, I don't know if I agree with the title MERP. I think that's off-putting.
Isn't that a very Ralph Nader, moderately enlightened rich people?
Maybe if it's grand or picnic.
Yeah, that would have made more sense. All right, so last thought on this. Can we ever get the money out? I mean, we do a story about this every week since we've been doing the show, but isn't the root of this is just the ridiculous amount of money in politics? And, I've now presented this question 3 times, but the idea, even how silly it is, that you'd need a billionaire to come in so that the money could get out. Is there any chance that the system will ever change?
No.
No.
No, I do. I actually think this is elevating the conversation. So maybe, because democracy doesn't work right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just
bring us home.
If a politician runs who is not for sale, there's someone on the other side who is, and it will kind of activate people to overfund. You get one billionaire running against, 25 billionaires giving to the other side. It's tough.
I think our candidate is gonna be from New Mexico. Because
there's so much
happy.
love and happiness there. Excellent. All right, let's move on to fast food, the fast food story of the week. This is really interesting. So a chiropractor in Nebraska, he has been displaying a 2-year-old McDonald's Happy Meal in his office as a way of hoping that it'll show his patients to eat healthier. There it is. So that's 2 years old. That looks pretty similar to a 2-hour-old Happy Meal, doesn't it? I mean, that doesn't look that different, right?
Yeah.
This is completely, the air, it's exposed, et cetera, et cetera.
To be fair, the guy put it in one of those cake domes.
Right, but it's not completely airtight.
Right, that's not
they
airtight.
said.
But let me say something. I made muffins once and put them in the cake dome.
Yeah.
For like 3 weeks, they were fine. They were like still moist and fantastic. So I need to, 2 years is something.
So you would eat that?
But I think this is more a commercial for the cake dome.
So this, ironically, he's selling cake domes on the side. Well, I think there's a slight difference between the 3-week-old muffin, and with all due respect to your muffins, in the cake dome than the, the 2-year-old McDonald's. But we also have an image. This one's wild. This is a 14-year-old McDonald's Happy Meal. Yeah. Now, 14 years old, by all logic, we would all think it would be rotted and molded and pretty much fungied and, give me another word, really
Just
odorous.
Odorous and decomposed and nastified, but it is not. Now, we should say here that McDonald's has acknowledged that these burgers don't rot and claims the food are dehydrated so they don't rot in the absence of water, therefore claiming it is an abundance of chemicals that's doing this. Now, we've also talked about McDonald's pink slime in the burgers, and last week we did the story about the yoga mat chemical that is in all the breads at all the fast food places. And every time we do a story on this, people in the comment section go crazy saying, well, we have chemicals in everything, and it's that you shouldn't have too much of the chemical, but if you want a little yoga mat chemical in your bread, then that's okay. Is so that argument, can we just talk about that argument? Yes, we have chemicals in everything, and we're constantly inhaling all kinds of things, and at one time people thought asbestos was okay, and blah, blah, blah. But shouldn't we have just like a basic rule that you don't need these things, even if they're somehow sort of harmless now, that we don't need yoga mat chemicals that expand elasticity, and that's why they put it in the bread, and that's why the Subway bread is so fluffy.
Ugh. Also,
Am I a wild radical when I say that?
No, I mean, I've heard of like metal fillings being in like Wheaties and stuff, like people holding magnets up to them. And I know. So what's the acceptable level of ore that I'm eating? Right?
Yeah, what is the acceptable level?
But no, if the food doesn't decompose, I don't think I should put it in my body.
Yeah.
That said, there was a receipt. Somebody was showing a receipt.
Yeah.
It cost like 79 cents 14 years ago for that hamburger. The receipt was decomposing. So basically it would be healthier to eat the receipt than it would to eat the patty.
What do you say to these people who say science and it's if you don't have too much of the chemical?
I would like to see them dehydrate a piece of grade A sirloin, and see if that holds up as well as the pink slime post 14 years. Also, I'd like to meet this guy who kept a burger for 14 years.
Right, you got to wonder about that guy.
Did he do it on purpose?
No, he forgot. It was in his pocket. But I drove by McDonald's yesterday. It said billions and billions served. And I'm thinking there are billions and billions of those hamburger patties in the universe somewhere. So it's like cloudy with a chance of hamburger, a bit of Whoppers or whatever they're called.
Well, speaking of billions and billions served, there was also a thing that came out today that McDonald's has right now, I kid you not, 10 million extra pounds of chicken wings. They're mighty wings. They're not selling. So they have 10 million extra pounds. Is this just like a whole problem with our food source and all the whole fast? It's just like the whole socioeconomic thing, and this is a big
I don't know why people aren't eating the mighty wing.
You like the mighty wing?
Yeah,
it's the research. They didn't do the research enough to know that people wouldn't eat the mighty wing.
Yeah, well, the thing is McDonald's hears people saying, listen, you don't serve actual food in your Happy Meal. It is a miserable meal. And so they try to give you, now their menus are bright and green. If you look at the McDonald's breakfast menu on the drive-through window, everything's on plates, which has never happened to an Egg McMuffin. No one's like, okay, let me put it on a plate and have a nice cup of coffee that I pour my, McDonald's coffee into.
Right.
And then there's leafy greens now, as opposed to the shredded lettuce that they've had on things in the past. And so for the mighty wing, they wanted it to look like an actual animal part. And people are like, no, I'm fine. I don't care. I like that sometimes it's like a game when I bite the McNugget. When am I going to get that like gelatinous, unchewable ball from spinning the chicken in a circle and taking whatever sticks to the outside and putting it in a nugget
Did you say
form.
clit?
That's
Did
what
you
I
say
thought
clit?
Whatever
You said
clitoris, whatever
clit it looks like.
Basically, I just want to eat chicken clitoris. And if we can make that happen.
Actually, some of the Mighty Wings kind of
I
do
don't
look
mind
like
if
a
it
big
doesn't
clit.
Look like it, but it's like fast food that is slow to decompose.
Yeah.
So you get it in fast, it never comes
and
out.
it stays forever.
Can I share a personal story?
Please.
Because I don't think the clitoris story is personal enough. Baskin Robbins ice cream cake doesn't melt. I left my
In the
mint
cake
chocolate
dome?
sheep.
No, it's in the dome.
No,
It's the freaking
sans
dome.
dome, out of the dome, in my kitchen. I like had a party and a cake, and I got drunk and went to sleep, and I came back the next morning to the kitchen, and it is just this lard sponge. Yes, it kind of deflates, but that ice cream you would imagine would melt, and it just does not.
Wow.
So there's something, you know.
It's dehydrated.
It's dehydrated
Right.
ice cream.
Cream. All right, so final thought on this. So everyone always says, well, if you Americans, if you want your food cheap and you want it fast, well, then we have to put all this stuff in there. And then they also say, well, if you know the people that are on the lower end of the economic scale, that they can only afford this stuff. But I don't even think that argument makes any sense, because doesn't a Happy Meal or a number one, a Big Mac meal, cost around $7 or $8 at McDonald's? Am I ballparking it?
You're asking.
I'm asking the wrong person. You
Yes.
McDonald's lover. It's about
Yes, like
about
$6.50. I'm
let's
gonna
say-
go
okay.
in and come out for $6.50.
Really?
So $6.50. Couldn't you, for $6.50, go to Trader Joe's? I know there's not Trader Joe's everywhere like there is at McDonald's, but get not only a healthy meal for $6.50, but more than one meal. You can get a bag of kale for.
Let's take a moment about Trader Joe's
Am I,
and their sodium bricks that the cheap stuff
You're
at
talking about the
Trader
frozen
Joe's
stuff.
is frozen stuff. That's the cheap stuff at Trader Joe's, and that is not good for you.
But you could get a bag of kale at Trader Joe's
Yeah.
for like $2 and a wrap. That's basically
Put it on a plate.
Put it on an actual plate and eat that, and it would be the same price. So
But
does that
Dave,
economic art? Am I just being? I'm being
Have you tried?
I'm being an elitist.
Have you tried to park at Trader Joe's? I mean, it really is a question of convenience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why people drive through. I'll have number one. It's so much easier than.
Ooh,
Yeah.
You just came up. So if Trader Joe's had the drive-through, we might have solved something here.
I just think your problem is that you just told America to eat its vegetables.
Yeah, bad news.
I think you're going to lose
I
that.
apologize. I retract that whole thing. I completely apologize about that. So there's a new project called Bubbles, and it's aiming to create urban parks inside a giant bubble. This really reminds me, I don't know if you guys played SimCity back in the day, but when you got into the future in SimCity, the deep future, like 2050, everything sort of looked like this. So we've got a couple more images of these things. And this is through Oprah Project, which is designed as a response to rising pollution affecting cities in Asia. And it's got a way that it's going to filter air flowing inside parks while controlling temperature and humidity. You know, look, this sort of seems like, I mean, this all looks like the future to me. It looks a little bit like Elysium. You know, in this future where, you know, the ozone layer has been depleted and we got to watch out for the sun and our air is no good and all that stuff. Are we going to be bubble people? Is everyone going to be a bubble boy like in Seinfeld?
We're all going to be rolling around like
in our personal bubble.
Or Pauly Shore in Biodome.
Yeah. Well, so this is Biodome. This is
Basically, it's being under your cake dome.
If I'm in.
It all came around.
I'm in. I never want to leave it.
Yeah. Is this the future, really? I mean, we can't stop climate change, right? So why don't we just manage it and live in bubbles?
See, as long as only the wealthy can use it, I'm fine with it. Because right now, this is essentially like putting a roof over the open air shelter that is the public park. And I just think this is going to make homeless people too comfortable.
Oh,
I think that's the problem. That's the thing is like, I mean, yeah, you're going to, no, I think we need to like, yes, make parks more livable. And I think instead of just putting a dome over them, we need to fix the pollution problem.
Right.
This is putting a very strange looking soap and water Band-Aid over a much larger wound.
Right, so it seems to me that what they're doing here is they're sort of giving up on the idea that we can reverse climate change or fix it, which that's what scientists are saying now. We can't go back, so we may as well do these types of things and be growing our agriculture in these domes and all that. Is it too late
Well,
for
that's why
humans?
we need Oprah in office to fix climate change.
Yeah.
No, I think, don't people need antibodies, or they need to be out in nature no matter what?
You do need to be exposed.
Right, so bubble people will never, if it were bubble wrap,
that would
perhaps that would be fun.
Yeah.
You know, you just
I just feel terrible. I feel terrible for the birds. We're like, oh, look at all those trees. Thunk. And they're just like face first on this strange bubble.
Although they have to get in the bubble, like they do, like I've seen birds at the airport.
They do get in there every now and again. So this is sort of like the dome from the Simpsons movie.
So if we want to keep out the idiot birds and only breed very smart birds, we put the dome over the top, and only the ones who are wise enough to get in.
And we'll put the headshots of birds that don't like gay people.
The callback queen right here, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just trying to tie it all together.
Yeah. Is this going to lead us to other planets? You think that's going to be the thing? Maybe we won't get it quite right here, or we'll do it here for a little bit, but that's going to be the trick of how we end up living on Mars or on Pandora from Avatar or something?
Yes.
Pretty much. We're going to end up in domes on other planets?
Yes.
You're on board?
I believe.
Domes on other planets?
I think domes on other planets. And I'm only behind this bubble thing if the way you make it is you take a huge one of those like big bubble wands that like surprises children, and someone just like, you put it like the Statue of Liberty's hand from Ghostbusters 2, and it just kind of...
Yeah. We should give Harold Ramis a little shout out, by
there
the way.
There you go, Harold
He did pass
Ramis.
away this week, one of the great comedy legends. Where do you think the first dome's going to pop up? I'm thinking this has to be like a Brooklyn, like hipsters are going to want to live in a dome. And then it'll become cool for a little while, and then everyone will want out of the dome.
I think South by Southwest.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
That'll be, the first dome will definitely debut
dome
there.
festival.
And then go from there. Do you have a dome?
I think,
place?
yeah, South by Southwest, and they'll take the homeless people who are in the park and turn them into mobile hotspots outside the park.
Oh, right.
And then that'll work out just fine for everyone.
As long as we're talking future, we've talked a little bit about Ray Kurzweil. He is the director of engineering and the world's leading futurologist, the director of engineering at Google, I should say, and he believes that computers and robots will be much smarter than us by 2029. By 2029, computers and robots will be able to understand what we say, learn from experience, and outsmart even the most intelligent humans. They'll be able to crack jokes. Wendy, we're out of a gig. They'll be able to tell stories, and they'll be able to flirt. And now we have a quote from Ray himself. And today I'm pretty much at the median of what artificial intelligence experts think, and the public is kind of with them. Because the public has seen things like Siri, where you can talk to a computer, maybe they've seen the Google self-driving cars. My views are not radical anymore. I've actually stayed consistent. It's the rest of the world that's changing its view. Now, this guy is the leading futurist in the world. He believes, he's doing this thing right now, we did another story on it, where he's trying to live forever using this system of vitamins, and they have these pills now that can go into your body and look around and vaporize diseases and nanotechnology and nanobots and all that stuff. So this guy knows what he's talking about. 2029, are robots going to take over? Does that seem like a rough estimate of a year that makes sense to you?
I don't know. I just want the robot to be able to load my dishwasher for me, and then I'll be a very happy person. I actually did get to speak with Woz once.
Ooh.
And he told me he was skeptical about the singularity, but he met with Kurzweil, and by the end of their conversation, he was totally convinced that at some point, computers and robots will be able to take over or have the same processes that humans do, but will they be able to change a diaper? You know, like flirting one thing, but could they change my oil?
That makes you wonder. Now, Woz, you are talking about Steve Wozniak.
I am.
Former founder of Microsoft. Just for the people.
He created the computer.
Yeah, he was
The
Steve
home
Jobs'
computer.
like right-hand man, basically. 2029, does that seem like
I'm trying to figure out how robots and computers aren't smarter than us now.
Are they? Maybe they are.
Well,
already.
my auto bill pay never forgets to pay my bill. I am often the person who forgets to do that, and everyone's always afraid in this moment when robots are better than us, they'll start to kill us.
Yeah.
Like robots can kill us now. Like drone warfare, I kind of need 2029 to come around so that robots are sophisticated enough to feel bad about it.
Ah, so you want robot guilt. That probably won't kick in until around 2034 or so.
The Jewish robots.
The Jewish robots,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a belief that like the future is going to be some combo of like iRobot and The Matrix and maybe a little Minority Report and Her. Yeah.
Let me tell you something about robots.
Yes.
In Her, he falls in love with him. Like, you can have sex with a robot now.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah, there's plenty of machines you can have sex with.
Such as
the accommodator. I made that up.
that sounds good though. Yeah, I was like, where'd you get that?
Sex robots. There's a thing, I forget what it's called, but I don't know if you watch Howard Stern. There's always some machine that you listen to someone, at least listen to Howard Stern, listen to someone have sex with a robot. I'm just saying the future is now.
Yeah, well, we've done stories on robot sex and that kind of thing.
Robots.
Yeah. But is it just paranoia that this is always going to go poorly? Because all the science fiction movies, yeah, they always turn on us, they kill us. Is there a chance that some of this actually will be good? I think Ray Kurzweil would argue if the robots could do all the mundane tasks of the dishwasher and the bill pay, that it will actually free up other parts of the human brain to do things and think about things that we don't have time for anymore.
I started doing stand-up comedy before GPSs. So I literally would be more nervous finding the place than I was actually performing.
Yeah.
So that has freed me up. The robot or whatever technology has freed me up to be more creative. So like if somebody could drive me, the Google car is going to come out soon, that will free me up to play Candy Crush.
That was actually a real world use of this stuff. I mean, that's true. Like I remember doing gigs and driving upstate New York, having no freaking idea where I was going, no GPS.
Looking at a little piece of paper that I had written the directions down at lunch.
Then I get on stage and I'm like dripping with sweat and I'm already late and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, do you think it could free up some time for our brains to do some other good stuff?
I literally found myself opening Candy Crush on my phone while I was driving here today. I'm not kidding.
I mean, that's sick.
We need a 12-step.
If you open my phone, it will open to Candy Crush if you like close my notes.
What level?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I did it. I got very far, and then it was ruining my life, so I deleted it. And then 3 days ago, I put it back on, and I'm on level like 99 or something.
So then, using the Candy Crush example, is this proof that all of this is good and bad because the robots maybe can do things that'll be great and be able to do medical procedures that'll be wonderful, but then at the same time, we're all going to get dumb because of Candy Crush and is it Flappy Bird or Fappy Bird? I always
Flappy,
but that's something else. Fappy is something else. Yeah, that one disappeared. I was playing the other one. I mean, it makes you dumber. Yeah,
if you're good
so are they going to make us
the
dumber?
other.
Are they going to make us dumber with technology, and then also the robots will keep getting smarter?
I don't think those games make me dumber. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I think it makes me think in a different way. But don't text and drive.
You're right.
I shouldn't drive and drive. But yeah, I think it remains to be seen.
Yeah,
that's what the future is all about.
I think that like the robots, the jobs robots can do are replacing like low-paying jobs. So I think there are still going to be people who have to do until 2029. There are people who have to do like the high-paying jobs still. And I'm pretty sure that they will not commission the design of a robot that allows their own job to be replaced.
I think also one other thing,
yeah.
Like you know how Facebook used to be the Facebook, and then the guy from Napster came in and talked him out of the Facebook. I think the singularity is just going to be called singularity. That's my prediction.
Singularity. I mean, it sounds kind of nice.
The singularity.
All right, people. Well, don't forget that if one day a robot that looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up at your door asking for John Connor, I warned you about it here. I want to thank Wendy Liebman, Brett Erlich. Their Twitterers are down below. Don't forget to subscribe. They tell me to say that every week. And we will do this again next week, barring a robot revolution. All right, thanks.